from home, sort of. So I decided to record this while I've got 51 minutes left on a drive. And I guess it's just a story that I think should be heard and shared. It's worth something, to me at least. And it is a continuation of discussing, I hate to say the dangers, but possible negative side effects of the medications that I've previously discussed. I can't remember exactly what cocktail I was on at the time. Definitely Abilify, definitely Wellbutrin. I believe Klonopin, Propanolol, and Propanolol. It's not really it doesn't really affect your mentality. It's more to control the physical side effects of anxiety, but at least that's why I was prescribed it. But Propanolol will actually play a big part in this story. I should put a little disclaimer out there, I suppose. This is a dark story. There's not really any positivity to be found in it until it's over. I am going to mention suicide. I am going to talk about the deepest, darkest place that I've ever been to, mentally. And so it's just a fair warning, I suppose, that if you are watching this or listening, just be aware. And if you're not in a mindset to where you think you should be exposed to a conversation or dialogue, monologue about suicide, then perhaps another time would be better. Sorry, I'm recording this while driving, obviously, and my phone slips a little bit sometimes. So, yes, if you're in a headspace that's not ready to hear about these topics, then I would completely understand and hope that you either visit this video another time, or maybe it's just not right for you, and that's okay. Warning over. So, February of 2022, late February, I hit rock bottom. At least relative to the experience I've had so far, rock bottom. It's not really too important what kind of got me there that day, what finally pushed me over the edge, I guess you could say. But the important part of the story is just that I was there. I, at the time, realized that evening, I guess I'll sort of start a timeline here. It was late, dark outside. I don't know, probably past 10 or close to it, I'm not sure. But I realized I just felt like I had lost all hope. I felt that my life was never going to be the same. And in many ways that was true. But I saw nothing but darkness. There was no light anywhere. So that evening, I left my house and had not decided at the time what was to come. But I left. I went to a nearby restaurant that was still open, and I had free beers. At that point, I had been sober for maybe a month, and it was the longest time I've been sober, except for deployments and when I wasn't able to access alcohol in years and years and years. Probably since I've been 21. And so I went to this restaurant, I drank those beers, and that was kind of symbolically me giving up. I had been proud of the sobriety I'd found and destroyed that pride as soon as I took that first sip of beer. And it was like the hopelessness and the loss of pride, that first sip being self-destructive, really. So I had made the decision while in that restaurant I was going to go home and make my last decision, really. My last big one. Funny enough to say, I should include this. I very vividly remember my father telling me while walking into a Winn-Dixie when I was young. He asked if I knew what we did every day in life, all the time, more often than breathe. What, every few seconds, really. His answer was that we make decisions. We're constantly making decisions. And I have remembered that my whole life. So that night in the restaurant, I made a decision. I went home. I wrote a short letter, incredibly short. I don't know, 5 sentences possibly, to my daughters. And I apologized. I told them I loved them. I took about 100 Propanolol pills. It took me 3 handfuls to swallow them all. And the thought that I was able to even get through those decisions, one, swallow, another one, swallow, would say that was probably about 10:45 at night. I left that note I wrote my daughter's on the kitchen table, and I walked out of the house as visibly upset as I am just talking about it now. And if not visibly, maybe you can hear it in my voice, but I wasn't upset that night whatsoever. Not at all. I was completely numb. Anyone who knew me while I was drinking a lot, or at all, because I'm not now, knows that I had quite a high tolerance for alcohol. 3 beers wasn't really a drop in the bucket to change my thinking patterns, or I didn't feel inebriated by that. I still felt that I was thinking with my own head. So I walked out of the house. I didn't say goodbye to my daughters. I didn't even peek into their rooms. I just left. And I drove around for a bit. I kind of made a small circle through the city and then wound up at a Walmart, their parking lot. And I parked my truck just kind of towards the center of the empty parking lot, and I listened to music, and I just sat there and waited. I only recently had the thought yesterday of, what it must be like for someone who knows and is conscious enough and can think enough to realize that they're dying, and what thoughts must go through someone's mind at the end. And then I realized I've actually experienced that. Because I was certain that I had taken enough of this Propanolol to end things. Propanolol slows your heart rate. And I knew that. That was why I chose that. I had Googled and searched for how much I thought I would need. I took everything I had. I didn't leave anything on the table, so to speak. So I felt quite certain that that night was it. So I sat in this parking lot listening to a specific song. I feel maybe I shouldn't mention it, but I still listen to it to this day. From the time I left the house to when I realized I didn't think the medication was working for whatever reason, and I'll get into this more later. I was able to sit in my truck for 2 hours after swallowing over 100 Propanolol pills, and I felt nothing. I never got sick. I never threw up. And I felt fine, really, other than the deep depression. I physically felt no symptoms whatsoever of the medication. Propanolol is not something that needs to build up in your system. It's a pretty quick-acting medication, and with a relatively short half-life. I believe, off the top of my head, 4 to 6 hours is kind of the effective time, and then after that, you would need another one. With 100 pills in my stomach and 2 hours gone by, I realized, I thought, that it was not going to work. During those 2 hours, I was still absolutely numb. I never cried. I never felt upset. At this point, people knew what was going on. I'd received at least 10 phone calls from various family members, and I ignored them all. Besides the letter to my daughters, I didn't tell a single person goodbye. I didn't share a thought with anyone. And maybe I was just overcome with embarrassment or didn't know what to say. I didn't want anyone to stop me. I didn't want to be talked off the ledge. So 2 hours had gone by, and I went back home, knowing that many people were aware of what had happened, what I was doing. And so I knew that I couldn't run from the consequences. When I got home, I talked with my ex-wife. Told her I just wanted to go inside and go to sleep, that it wasn't going to work, and it had failed, really, and I couldn't explain it. My boss at the time, supervisor, I was in the Army at the time, came to my house along with another co-worker, another boss, really, another supervisor. And so the two of them arrived. My ex-wife was there, and one of her friends was there. But an ambulance came. At this point, I still feel completely fine. No side effects whatsoever. The ambulance came. I walked myself to the ambulance. I got on the stretcher, and they took me to the hospital. In the ambulance, my vitals were completely fine. I showed no signs of this medication affecting me. My blood pressure was normal. My heart rate was normal, stable. I was given IVs and all the normal procedures and monitored. And for reasons I can't explain, I don't think that I'll ever have a tangible explanation for what happened. But I was laying on that bed in the hospital for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I heard the doctor say blood pressure and heart rate are dropping. We're not out of the woods yet. Those were his words. Why in the world it took 2.5 hours or so, 2 hours and 45 minutes maybe, I don't know, for this medication to affect me and to do what I wanted it to do while I was alone, I'll never know. I've even looked up the hospital records from that night. There's not really an explanation in there. There wouldn't be. Why would they write that down? But I guess doctors can't just write down miracle as the reason, the intervention. So they gave me what they needed to stabilize my blood pressure and my heart rate, and I made it through the night just fine, other than drinking some disgusting charcoal mix. I still never threw up. My stomach wasn't pumped. Of course, I didn't leave the hospital again for, I think, 2 weeks after that. So, I'm telling this story because I think, relative to, speaking on the medications that I was on at the time, I mentioned previously that I was absolutely numb. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel upset. I didn't feel remorse. I walked out of the house and left the two most beautiful things, my daughters. I walked away from that, and I didn't feel like I was going to miss anything. Everything that had been so important to me for years, it was like I had just forgotten about it. I didn't think about memories. I didn't think about what their lives would be like without me. The ripple effect of the decision I had made that night, I didn't think about it at all. And like I said, I didn't answer phone calls from my own mother, my own father, my sister, my brother. I didn't speak to anyone. And that, now I see, is just absolutely mind-blowing. I can't fathom that today. Today I've been off of all prescription medications, other than an antibiotic a few weeks ago. I've been off of all of those medications I was taking for 51 days. I took some mixture of them for about 5 years. And it's only been in the last 51 days that I've been able to see the numbness, the absolute apathy that it caused. I'm not an emotionless person whatsoever. that I was that night. And looking back, I had made a lot of decisions up to that night that also just showed signs of no emotion, no love, no caring. I was just gone. It's almost as if when I decided that night to end everything, I was only killing my body, because inside, in my head, it was like I was already gone. So that is just so bad. I don't like to use that word. I think I have a stronger vocabulary than bad. But I'm pointing out the dangers that apply when you take these things that suppress your feelings, suppress emotion. And I just know I would not have been able to do that had I not been on those medications. I feel quite certain of that. I just want to get that out there, I guess, and tell that story. I've said in a previous video, I'm not advocating that these things be taken off the market, that they never be prescribed again. Some people find a better life with the help of this stuff. And I can't even really say that maybe I didn't, in a way. It helped me to, I don't know. Maybe it was all a placebo effect, really. I had a thought the other night that, I'd kind of looked up a little bit of information, and it was really sparked by a sort of a documentary I was watching that mentioned the placebo effect and what that really is. I don't think people have ever put a lot of thought into this, other than maybe doctors. But I think it's not as appreciated, the beauty of what a placebo effect really is. You can swallow a pill made of nothing but sugar, flour, I don't care what it's made of, but something totally harmless and useless, really. But the act of putting that inside your mouth, swallowing it, and thinking to yourself, that will help. Now I'm being taken care of. And it's that. It kickstarts your body into healing itself. And that is, it's a beautiful thought, simply because it is your mind, your brain, yourself finding the will to repair itself, the will to go on, just from the simple thought that something externally and internally cares. That is all the placebo effect really is. Maybe we should start calling it, the care effect. But yeah, when your body realizes that it's being cared about, and you have the thought that, now I've helped myself. It's like that is so appreciated in your mind, that your mind and your body say, all right, we've got to fix this because, we need to stick around. Things will get better. So, I guess in a way, hope is when you swallow a pill of hope and caring, your body will react. I guess I don't know if I've got too much else to say about it. But yeah, I hit rock bottom. I was sure that was the end. I came back, crawled out of it, and now I have the hindsight, the retrospect, to see what happened. And I can appreciate the appreciation that I have for being able to feel again. It's been absolutely wonderful. I could make a whole other video about the past 20 days of my life. And it's just been incredible, really. So, I'm glad I could share this. There's not many people in my life that know this story, or at least that have heard it from me. And so, I've definitely never told it in such detail. Thank you if you have watched this and you've gotten this far. Glad I could share that. And I hope that if you do see this and we don't know each other, or we do, and you're going through something similar, or really if it strikes a chord with you at all, then I'm glad. And that is the whole purpose. So, alright. 11 minutes till I get to where I'm going. So, I am going to listen to a few songs and get to work.